Chapter 22 Experimental Error. After the portal had sparked out, Dr. Robert went over to Helen. "Did you see it?" "See what, doctor?" replied Helen. "The laboratory, Helen, this laboratory," replied Dr. Robert. "No, of course not, it was an office, with what looked like maintenance men, repairing a hole in the ceiling," replied Helen. No, it was definitely this laboratory, Helen. I could see the equipment, the accelerator chamber in the back, everything." Helen had no idea what was going on. As far as she was concerned, the view was clearly that of an office, not a laboratory. Within a few seconds she had remembered that they had been running video of the experiment. "Why don't we just review the videotapes?" asked Helen. "Excellent idea, Helen, well done, that should prove it beyond a doubt," agreed Dr. Robert. Due to the large number of video feeds, it took them nearly an hour to work through them all and find the right angles in order to see what Helen and Dr. Robert had seen, though the truth was far from palatable. Helen was the first to speak. "What does it mean? How can there be two different views?" Dr. Robert was clearly as stumped by the discovery of the two different views as Helen was. "If we have assumed correctly that the electric blue halo is some form of viewing portal, and we have assumed that there is a multiverse, as a result of the very harmonic resonance we predicted, then what we were seeing was in fact not this laboratory, here on this Earth, but it was this laboratory on another Earth. Somehow our farviewer, in conjunction with some other event of a similar nature, has created a bridge the two dimensions, and we were seeing it." Helen stopped for a moment and considered what Dr. Robert had just suggested, before she matter-of-factly replied, "Don't you mean 3 dimensions?" Dr. Robert looked at Helen. "Yes, Helen, I suppose I do." "How fantastic! But where does that leave us?" asked Helen. "It leaves us in the rather unfortunate position of no longer having the foggiest clue about what's going on. I'm afraid, Helen, we do have to accept the multiverse as an option. There is far too much evidence to allow us to overlook it from now on. So we now have to attempt to understand it, if not control it. If what we saw was another laboratory like this one, then it could quite possibly be in a town like Kiruna, in a country like Sweden, and on an Earth not at all unlike this one. There could in fact be another you and me, and everyone else for that matter, living happily and leading productive lives on it as unaware as we were." Helen stopped once again to consider what Dr. Robert had said. "I'm afraid all this really is starting to get beyond me, Doctor. Multiverse, multi-Earths, multiple version of us. It's all quite disturbing. What if we are not the same type of person? We just look alike. It would be like having an evil twin." Dr. Robert, forever the optimist, had not for a second considered this was a very real possibility. "Oh my," he said. "I suppose that may well be the case, Helen." And with that he sat down, all thoughts of Nobel Prizes quickly evaporating from his mind. Helen did not know quite how prophetic her words would be. Now that Bouncer and Graham had seen what was possible, there may be no stopping them.